Welcome to East by West Farms. Here we grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Today I'm going to try to set up the roof truss for the chicken coop. And as you can see over here, I already cut 7 pieces of the roof rafter. I also set up kind of a dry run setup over here just to make sure my cut is perfect. And they seem to fit pretty well. So here I have all the tools I need and my setup. So I have, of course, 2x4x8, so I need to cut that short. And I have my plank over here, 2 clamps, a sanding block to sand the cuts, and then 3 things for measure, a tape measure, a speed square, and also a ruler, and of course a pen. And I'm going to just use a cross-cut saw for this. A miter saw might work as well, but there's a long cut that miter saw doesn't work, so I'm just going to use the cross-cut saw for this. The plank over here is a little bit messy, so I changed the plan during the process of building it. So I'm going to clean up and make a separate video about how to design the roof and all that stuff. The roof design basically starts with the span of the structure you have. So in this case, the chicken coop has the 8 feet wide, and that's the span. So the roof, of course, goes like this. So half of it is 4 feet. And then the pitch of the roof. In US, they design the pitch of the roof based on the multiply of 1/12. So it's 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, and so forth. And so I select the 4/12, and that gets close to where I think the shape looks good. And so that's what I'm going to design with. So the span of the roof is 8 feet, and so the run, which is half of the span, is 4 feet, and the pitch is 4/12. And so for my calculation, a little math goes a long way, but in this case, I'm just going to show you how I did it, and I will use this in the draw, make the draw lines on the 2x4 as well. So basically, a pitch of 4x12 is equivalent to 1/3, so 1/3. So what you do is you draw this triangle with the 2 straight sides. One is 3 and the one is 1. So that gives you a pitch of 1/3, which is the same as 4/12. And then you do the calculation on how long the diagonal is for that triangle. That's basically 3 square plus 1 square, and take square root of that. So that's square root of 10, and then that gives you 3.16. So the principle of proportion comes in. So basically, if I have anything that, say for my roof, I have 4 feet is 48 inches, and then if my rise is, so my run is 48 inches, and my rise is 16 inches, and that would give me 1:3 ratio, and that gave me the pitch. So basically, you want to have the short straight edge and the long straight edge is 1:3, and that will give you the exact same pitch. Sometimes I need to calculate the diagonal length for other dimensions. So what I want is to look at the ratio between the 3/16 and the 3, that gave me 1.053. I keep a few more decimal points so that I can minimize the round-off error. So basically, this is what I'm going to work with. And then there are two challenges when I was trying to draw the lines on there. One is this 2x4 has this rounded edge, and that makes drawing the line very precisely drawing the line a little bit challenge. That I managed to find a way to do it. Another one is the fractions. I don't know why Americans use fractions, and it just doesn't make sense to me. So if you have, it will be much more easier if you have to have a ruler that have decimal marks for the inches. Unfortunately, I don't have that. The ruler I have here only have the fraction markers. That, of course, makes things a little bit challenging as well, because fraction just not good for calculation. But I managed to overcome that challenge as well. So I will show you how I do this. I want to draw this edge over here. What I'm going to do is actually start from this end so that I can match what this edge look like. You can see over here the width of the 2x4 is actually 3.5. That means if I do my proportional, this edge is 3.5. So that's the long straight edge. So the short straight edge should be 1.16, and that will give me a ratio of 1:3. So basically, I take 3.5 divided by 3, and I get 1.16. So that means I should start at the end of a 2x4 with 1.16 in, and that will be my first cutting point. But 1.16, as I said, is difficult to convert that to fraction. So I'm just going to do actually just save like on this end 1.5. So what I do is use the speed square and use this as an edge and mark 1.5 inch off the edge, and then I use the speed square to draw my straight line. And then from that, I need to draw that slanted angle, that pitch direction. What I do, again, I'm going to use proportion. So this is my straight edge. I will mark the 1.5 and the 3. Okay, and then I take my ruler and trying to draw a perpendicular line with the marker. So the ruler, basically you have two markers over here. They're supposed to be perpendicular to the edge. So I line these two markers with the line I just draw, and then I draw 1 inch over here. So what that gave me is I have 1 inch over here and 3 inches over here. So then that would give me that pitch I wanted. But the problem is I don't see the end over here because of the rounded edge. So I need another point. And what I do is that's why I have this second point, that's 1.5. And then I draw 2.5 over here. So again, I have 0.5 over here and the 1.5 over there. So that's, again, is 1/3 ratio. So now I can connect those two lines. And that would give me the pitch of the roof. You can use this speed square. I don't think it's very accurate, but you can use it for double check. So when you have this, and then you pivot it. See, that's why I said it's not very accurate. But when you line this line with the edge, and this line should be 4 because I have the 4/12. So that's spot on. But I think this way is much more accurate. That's the first line that I will cut. I will not cut this line, but that's the one that I will cut. The next cut, I'm going to try to find that point over there. And so that distance from this point to that point is 49.75, which is actually very convenient. I will show you how I get that in a separate video. It's going to be difficult to measure from here to there. I started at this point 1.5 out over here. So I'm going to measure from here to that point. And that will be 49.75 plus 1.5, and that gives me 51.25. So that's makes things easier. So I get 51.25 over here. And just to double check, I will measure roughly from the line that I just drawn to here, and that should give me 49.75. So again, I'm going to use the speed square to draw my line. So that give me this point over here. So that give me this point, and that line I'm drawing is just that one. So again, I need to draw that roof pitch. So I'm going to use the same technique like before. I get 1.5 and 3. And then I take my ruler and do my 1. And 0.5. And so now I can draw by connecting those two dots. Now I get that pitch I have. So the next one is, once I have this, and then now I need to draw that. So this is not that critical how deep it is, because it basically kind of shift your rafter up and shift your rafter up and down. To make it convenient for me, I'm actually just going to use that point for that. So that basically is, I need to draw a 90-degree line perpendicular to the pitch I just drawn. That's the line, and again, these are not cutting lines. So the line that I will cut is this one and that one. That gave me the bird mouth cut. The next one is the overhang. So basically, if you look over here, so that basically is over here, that lines up with the vertical wall of the 8 feet span. And so the rest is the overhang. And so the overhang, what you will have is, again, it's kind of, if you're trying to have an exact overhang, the fractions just kill me. So I will have an overhang of 8 inches from here. So what I'm doing is I'm just draw the 8-inch line from the ruler. So that should be parallel to this, and what I can do is line my ruler mark on the line that I draw on this side, and then draw that line. And now I can this line and that line should be pretty parallel. If you want to double check, what you can do is do the same thing. And do the 1 inch and the 3 inch thing, and see how. See, that's spot on, and that's spot on. The last thing, what I did, I drew this line over here, and then I want to have this bottom to be horizontal, basically parallel to that bird mouth. And so this distance, I have basically 3.5, so that I can put a 2x4 cover plate on that. But I have a plywood, so that distance from here will be 3 inches from the edge. The round off is kind of pain. So what I do is I use the speed square, then I use the ruler to line that up. And I get my 3 inches mark over here. Okay, so then from that, of course, I draw my line perpendicular to that line. So these two lines are parallel, and these two lines are parallel. So now I have my lines drawn. Now I'm ready to cut. So I'm going to clamp it down. So the first one I will cut is this guy over here. When you start, just to put your fingers close. So now you get a nice cut that is cut right at the line. And also over here, it's difficult to draw a line over here with a speed square because of the rounded edge to trying to link this. So now I cut it, and now I can see exactly where that line should go. And so now I can draw this line. Now that will guide my saw to make sure I cut straight. Kind of just go back and forth so that you're not cutting to two. Okay, so that's my first cut. So the next one is I'm going to cut these small pieces off. And now on this edge, of course, is perpendicular. So I can draw that line pretty well. To cut the bird mouth, I flipped the 2x4 around so I can show on the camera over here. Again, I'm going to clamp it down really well. Okay, so I'm going to cut this one first and then cut that one. So the same technique, in this case, to get started, I'm going to put my I cut a groove with almost horizontal alignment of my saw, and then now I can draw my guide on that vertical wall to make sure I can cut straight. And I may need to come back and cut a little bit more, but for now it's good. And then I cut that long piece. That's the long edge I said you cannot cut with a miter saw. So that's why I'm using a cross-cut saw. Okay, so again, I come back. Please, wish I had a little bit more room so I can show maybe the camera better, but it's all right. So I get that line, and then I'm just going to continue cutting it slowly at the beginning to make sure to get a straight cut. So this one is a challenge cut because I cannot extend it too much, otherwise it's kind of bouncing around. But then I kind of bump into the bench edge over here, so you just kind of have to walk around it. Ideally, I want to go flat for a while, so maybe I just make sure to straight. the final piece is ta-da! Very nice looking. This last piece is always the best. So that's how I cut the rafters, and now I'm ready to move on to the next step, which is building the roof for the chicken coop. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the thumb up button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it down below. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button to follow our journey with the East by